Shalom Chavrim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live, a quick take of our broadcast this evening. And we're preparing actually for our Planet X video that will be coming out tomorrow on Yom Shabbat. So we hope that you will be watching for that. One thing I wanted to kind of bring to your attention, a couple of things actually. One, the United Nations, a news report sent to me by Brother Conrad there, is speaking about how many nations are involved in the war going on against ISIS right now. According to this report that Brother Conrad had sent me there, it states that if there are 5 nations or more involved in a war, you are technically at a world war. So in essence, the world is at world war. And of course, it's only going to escalate in the coming days, as we mentioned in our broadcast about the Gog and Magog. I can clearly see that Syria is being cleaned out. The entire country is being wiped out in order to set the battlegrounds that they're going to use to invade Israel from Israel's eastern border. And of course, from the west, they'll come by the sea as well. That is coming up in the very near future, but I do believe that there'll be a lull after this battle that takes place in Syria between Turkey, Russia, Saudi Arabia, possibly Britain, the United States, Chinese forces that are already there in Syria as well, and Iran. It'll go into a big fight there and then perhaps die off after a couple of weeks there, and then we will see a lull before the great battle that will only come at the end of the 2 witnesses when their ministry is complete there. So we are watching these things very carefully. Another thing, the journalist, the Palestinian journalist that Israel is accused of being a terrorist working with Hamas, was released from the hospital, or released by the Israelis, because after his 94th day near death, so he has been released. I personally felt like it is a serious situation that Israel should have not have let it got to that point. I don't know what Israel can really do when you're dealing with a hunger strike victim, but hopefully something could have been done, but they ended up releasing him instead. My point was that Israel should at least charge him, because from what I understand, he is being held without charges. Now, unfortunately, though, the terrorist organization Hamas has celebrated his release as a victory, as they say, over the occupation, the illegal occupants of the land there. And he has vowed that the Intifada will not stop, but will only increase. As we said too recently, that Ezekiel, I believe, is chapter 35, is certainly prophecy being fulfilled in regards to this particular Intifada. They are certainly doing it by the sword. And another interesting thing comes to mind as well. Another Arab girl, 14 years old, was caught planning an attack on Jews near Damascus Gate. And it's kind of interesting because something I want to kind of look into a little bit deeper here in the next couple of days there is the alarming number of youth that is involved in terrorist attacks in Israel. And it is nothing short of being propagated by the Hamas and also Palestinian governments glorifying the death of Jews. These people are really, come right down to it, they're being brainwashed by their own people, by their governments, as well as their schools and everything else. No wonder why we have a generation of youth willing to give their lives for a cause. This seems totally ridiculous. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Shalom.